welcome to the Wellness Transformation Journey podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Peters. In the last episode, we touched a little on setting up protocols to follow when you create a support system. Today, I want to go a little bit deeper. These protocols will be followed by your support teams and you. If you work with a professional, they will set up a system with you. Your inner circle and other groups will create their own set of protocols, and these will vary depending on the group you're working with and who's in your support systems. The first step is to schedule weekly progress reviews with your inner circle or other groups you have joined or created. The ultimate goal is to hold yourself accountable and get feedback on your progress. This is also a way to get positive reinforcement when you need it. I found this especially helpful when I got off track or was dealing with a plateau. Getting supportive and constructive feedback can help you get your mindset right and get you back on track. There was a particular instance where everything seemed to be falling apart for me in my personal life and at school. I was frustrated as I prepared for my comprehensive exams, and my grandmother was in the final weeks of her life. I couldn't focus and was struggling to stay on task. My inner circle of close friends made it a point to do regular checks with me to ensure my mental health was okay. They knew I was mentally off, which could create a setback in my wellness journey and in my schoolwork. This group helped me get through one of the hardest experiences in my life. During this time and throughout my journey, because we weren't physically close, my inner circle set up accountability calls or texts with me. Either I would text or call them, or they would contact me to check in on my workouts. Sometimes this involved me sending pictures of sunsets or sunrises while I was out on walks or runs. I would get responses back about my photos or asking how the workout was. We still do this today when I go on runs. We also do check-ins when I go hiking, often just to make sure I'm safe. This also allowed me to get feedback as to how I could adapt what I was doing when things weren't working. Another option, and one I do from time to time, but as an introvert it's rare, is to plan group activities with people who can hold you accountable or are supportive or working through their own journey. While I didn't do this much, and still don't because of my living situation, I do plan trips or weekend activities from time to time with family or friends. This often involves doing anything from hiking to gardening to community service activities. Most of the time, the activities are to have fun and mentally reset. Mentally resetting on a journey, no matter what point you are in, is extremely important. While you have set up an action plan for regular situations, you should always plan for emergency situations. There are a few things to consider for situations where you really need help. First, have a list of go-to supporters for tough days. Think about who you can talk to for uplift, to get constructive feedback, or to get a kick of motivation. I had one main person who I knew would be supportive, but also would give me tough love. They were critical in my weight loss journey and continue to be now. Second, create a motivation emergency kit. This doesn't need to be a literal kit. Mine was a book of motivational quotes and another book and podcast that I have used for years to help overcome depression and self-doubt. I'm a quote person, so I had quotes strategically placed throughout my house and office to keep me motivated. Last, develop crisis management strategies to carry you through tough times. I didn't have this when I first started, but I realized this was important when I found myself in a crisis situation. I had different strategies for different situations. Sometimes, if I was struggling, a text to my inner circle would work, or I would call if it was worse. Strategies to handle situations on my own included going for a walk or short hike in nature to reset and relax. I found time at home or in nature to meditate. I get anxious a lot when there is a lot of noise and things are happening, so being outside, even on the porch listening to birds, helped me relax. Sometimes I went clothes shopping, watched a movie, or went for a drive to take pictures just to get myself out of the everyday norm. Taking mental breaks is extremely important, especially when you feel things are getting tough. During this podcast, I predominantly focused on challenges, but there is also a need to celebrate victories no matter how large or small they are. This keeps you motivated throughout the process and helps you track your progress. First, plan non-food related rewards such as a trip to celebrate a milestone or buying new clothes when you drop a few sizes. Smaller rewards might mean buying a book, going to the movies, or spending an afternoon antiquing. We often put food and rewards together, which isn't always bad, but training our minds to understand there are other ways to reward ourselves sets you up for the long term. Similar to this, schedule milestone celebrations for big wins. When I was close to dropping under 200 pounds, my original goal, I booked a trip to hike in the Adirondack Mountains as a celebration and to challenge myself. I used the time to celebrate and do something I loved. I also took the opportunity to spend time with a friend who was very supportive throughout my journey and continues to be. Lastly, share victories with supporters because they are the ones who are there for you and care about you. They're on this journey with you. This can look like a trip I took with my friend. It can be posting on your social media to share with many people, or it's just telling the people around you that are closest to you. When I first started my journey, I kept my goals and successes close to myself because I was afraid of what people would say. As I saw more and more success, I started sharing with more people. As I became more successful, my confidence grew, and I became more comfortable with myself and sharing my journey. You will find yourself hitting highs and lows throughout your journey. Having support in multiple ways and protocols set up for emergencies and celebrations will make the journey easier and potentially more successful. A good support system of people is essential, but there are other ways to support yourself when you don't have people around. I'll discuss those in the next episode.